Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward. It's
Chapter 1 Soul Society, Spiritual Arts Academy, Sword Dojo. At this time, a beheading teacher was standing in the center, surrounded by students. Aizen Sōsuke comes on stage. As the man shouted, an exceptionally fair and handsome boy walked out of the crowd. The young man held the bamboo knife and made a few pretentious gestures. Then he pretended to have failed and ended the training, and accepted the teacher's teachings with a sincere expression. Just pretend. Bai Ye among the crowd in the audience muttered something in his heart, and then looked at the panel in front of him intently. Loading 99% is about to be completed. Looking at the progress bar on the panel, Bai Ye felt excited. Bai Ye is a time traveler from Daxia. After his death, he time traveled into Shinigami, a boy's comic that accompanied him in his youth, and became a soul. As a person who is fairly familiar with the structure of soul society, Bai Ye naturally knows that if he stays in a place like Rukanga, he will definitely be severely squeezed by the Shinigami nobles of Jinglingting and live like a slave. So he worked hard and got himself to Zhengyang Spiritual Arts Academy, the Shinigami school. Regardless of where he was born, as long as he comes here and successfully graduates, whether he becomes an ordinary Shinigami or joins Godai 13, he will be considered a person with a structure and background, and then he will be a master every day. But what Bai Ye never expected was that when he moved to the dormitory, he found that his roommate was actually one of Shinigami's famous bosses, Aizen Sōsuke. At first, Bai Ye was worried about attracting the roommate's attention, but now he doesn't have to be afraid. After all, the cheats he had been loading ever since he entered the school were finally coming to his account. This system is called the hundredfold enhancement system. According to its description, it will be randomly bound to an object. As long as the other party practices or understands the moves, you can get 100 times the feedback. There you have it. Even if the bound object was the third seat of the division, Bai Ye felt that he could just let that person practice for hundreds of years. When Kurosaki Ichigo was born, he was punching Aizen and kicking Yuhabak. While thinking, a voice sounded that made Bai Ye's heart beat faster. Ding! The system is loaded successfully. Extracting binding objects. After hearing this voice, Bai Ye became even more excited. Very good. Although it is enough to be a normal Rukong, it would be even better if the bound object is the already powerful Shinigami. I won't tell you if it's Mr. Yamamoto, but a young lady like Shihaoran Yoryuaki or Sui Feng would also be great. Bai Ye can also experience the fun of raising a young lady. Under the gaze of Bai Ye's excited heart and trembling pupils, the system popped up a pop-up window. Congratulations on successful host binding. Subject, Aizen Sōsuke. Ha ha ha. This binding object is well chosen. In the Shinigami world, regardless of Waiwaka's late-stage combat power, Aizen is the most powerful being in every aspect. As long as Aizen can practice normally to the middle stage, he will not have to reach the Hueco Mundo stage. His hundredfold increase will be enough to kill Waiwaka in one fell swoop. While Bai Ye was stunned, the middle-aged Shinigami standing in the field frowned. He found that when all the students were listening attentively, why was this boy Bai Ye looking at the air with an excited expression? Morishita sighed. In fact, he had always admired Bai Ye, a boy born in Rukanga. Although his talent was a bit average, he was willing to endure hardship and work hard, and he was handsome and a good person. But today, Bai Ye was so out of character. It seemed that he needed to beat him. Bai Ye! Teacher Morishita shouted and found that Bai Ye didn't respond and was still in a daze. Bai Ye! Come up! Teacher Morishita is really a little angry this time. It seems that this kid has been a little impetuous recently and he needs to show his strength to calm him down. Bai Ye calmed down from the excitement just now under this shout, as if he was separated from the world. Seeing the teacher and classmates looking at him, Bai Ye immediately knew what was going on. A little embarrassed, he pulled out the bamboo knife from the side and walked forward. When Bai Ye stepped forward, he didn't notice that Aizen behind him raised his eyes and looked at his back. Aizen has always felt that his roommate is very interesting. He is different from the Shinigami or spirits around him, giving him an incomprehensible feeling. However, Aizen still shook his head and turned away. There were still too few geniuses like him in the world, so few that he even doubted whether he and Shinigami were the same thing. He pretended that he had just been injured and was adjusting his breathing, but in fact he was absorbing spiritual power for practice. On the stage, Morishita picked up the bamboo knife and prepared to teach this boy Bai Ye a lesson, but suddenly he realized that something was wrong with this boy. Ding! The bound object is practicing, and the Ryotsu is increasing 100 times. Ding! The bound object has a new understanding of beheading. The cutting skills are increasing 100-fold. Chapter 2. Morishita and Bai Ye faced off on the stage, and many people in the audience were talking about it. Bai Ye was in a daze just now, I just noticed it. Yeah, if you ask me to say that Rukanga is here after all. Now he will make a fool of himself. The ones who spoke were two noble young masters. In the afterlife world of Soul Society, there are also nobles, and they are all families headed by the four nobles. These nobles were born to live in the Siridii, and from birth they had talents and powers that far exceeded those of ordinary roving souls. Moreover, at this point in time compared to the modern Edo period, there is still stronger discrimination between the nobles and the common people than at the beginning of the plot. Hearing these two people speak, there were many students from Rukanga in the audience who were somewhat unhappy and wanted to help Bai Ye argue, but due to the fact that the other party was a noble, they could only swallow their anger. Bai Ye, who was wearing it, didn't notice the comments in the audience, but felt the growing power as the prompts popped up from the system. I go. Is this what it feels like to hold a thigh? This is so cool. But while Bai Ye was feeling happy, Morishita on the opposite side was already a little out of sorts. This kid. By not moving, I was giving the student face to make the first move. This kid is so ignorant that he still doesn't move even after he gets on stage. Looks like I'm going to get something real. After thinking about it, Morishita picked up the bamboo knife and rushed towards Bai Ye with a shunpo. At this time, in the audience, the two aristocratic young men who had just spoken had expressions on their faces ready to laugh. But the next moment, something unexpected happened. Faced with Morishita's menacing sword, Bai Ye seemed to flip his wrist casually, and resisted Morishita's bamboo sword with a bottom-up move. This clever move made Morishita suffer a big loss because he originally just wanted to teach the students a lesson but did not use his full strength. The sword in his hand was directly blocked and raised high. What? The aristocratic students in the audience who were ready to laugh just now couldn't help but exclaimed. Although most of the teachers at Shoyo Spiritual Arts Academy are elite Shinigami who are better than ordinary Shinigami, there is a huge gap between elite Shinigami and students like them. This was no ordinary block, this was a sword that bounced away, revealing a huge flaw. If it were a normal fight, the person being bounced away would have no protection at all. Even the young master of the Kukaki family, Kukaki Sojun, who was the head of the four major families, only resisted and fought when he came on stage before, but he never deflected the teacher's sword. Morishita on the stage was also surprised, but more of a doubt. What happened? Could it be that Bai Ye has made new progress in his beheading skills recently? Or is this kid still hiding his clumsiness? Morishita was ready to go all out this time. He wanted to see if this kid was really capable or just lucky. Ryotsu belonging to Shinigami begins to burst out. People with low-level Ryotsu will feel a little uncomfortable when facing people with high-level Ryotsu. If the gap is too large, they may even fall into coma directly. Some students around started to feel uncomfortable. What happened? Morishita-sensei is actually breaking out Ryotsu. It's just a guide for students, no need to be serious about it. Just when all the students were surprised, Bai Ye had another feeling. Because Aizen is still practicing, the spiritual power in his body continues to increase 100-fold, and various insights about Aizen's swordsmanship also enter his body and brain 100-fold. This feeling made him not only not retreat when facing Morishita, who was about to take action, but also a little eager to try. Snapped. The sound of bamboo knives striking in the air sounded, but this was just the beginning. Crack! 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 In the next moment, a series of collision sounds were heard in the dojo. The students looked at the scene of the student and teacher fighting in shock, and couldn't help but widen their eyes. This is too outrageous. When did this boy Bai Ye become so powerful? Ueno, who was in the same dormitory as Bai Ye and Aizen, had his eyes widened. He never thought that his roommate could actually hide such a skill. And his current exclamation is the voice of the students present, competing with the teacher. How come? Didn't Bai Ye's previous performance in Zhanchuanzogui only be good at boxing, but the rest were mediocre? Not only the students in the audience were surprised, but Morishita on the stage was even more surprised. Not only was he surprised at Bai Ye's proficiency in beheading, but he was also surprised at the obvious increase in Ryutsu in Bai Ye's body. What happened? Could it be that this kid was really hiding his clumsiness before? Was it because he was in a trance that he used all his strength to reveal his hidden strength today? Otherwise, this ever-growing Ryutsu cannot fool anyone. And this has reached the level of a graduate ordinary Shinigami. Thinking of this, Morishita waved his bamboo sword even harder, trying to see how much Bai Ye had hidden. However, after all, the bamboo sword is just a weapon for practice, not a sealed state. Even if it is blessed to be more durable than the current bamboo sword, it cannot withstand such a fight. With a click, the bamboo strips exploded in the air. Chapter 3. The fragments of the bamboo knife were flying in the air. Everyone looked at the field with bated breath. Wait until your eyes can see the situation in the field. The students who were watching all exclaimed again. In the field at this time, Bai Ye was standing on the spot holding a bamboo knife, and in front of him was teacher Morishita with the broken bamboo knife in his hand. Morishita in the field was stunned for a moment, and then let out a cheerful voice. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Bai Ye, you kid. You don't notice it at ordinary times, but you hide it so deep. From what I felt just now, your Ryutsu is already better than that of a normal graduate. Okay. Go down. You have graduated from the course of beheading. While smiling, teacher Morishita stepped forward and patted Bai Ye on the shoulder. Bai Ye felt the huge force patting his shoulder and highly suspected that Morishita was secretly seeking revenge. Morishita touched his chin quietly and sighed in his heart, what a guy. It was almost embarrassing. My bamboo knife was broken into pieces, so I had to coax him down quickly, otherwise my dignity as a teacher would not be preserved. As Bai Ye stepped down, the audience was also shocked, and the students were talking about Bai Ye. Did you see clearly just now? Teacher Morishita's sword was broken. Yet. That's outrageous. Morishita also said that Bai Ye has the Ryutsu of a graduate. Doesn't that mean he can become a Shinigami directly? I heard that the last genius like him became a chief officer not many years after graduation. You can really hide it. If Morishita hadn't suddenly shown off his power this time, I'm afraid no one would have known about it until graduation, right? The noisy voices finally alerted Aizen, who was practicing with his eyes closed. Opening his eyes and listening to the voice in his ears, Aizen raised his eyebrows slightly. After hearing what the students around him said clearly, Aizen felt a little surprised. Aizen really didn't expect that his roommate, who usually looked like an average person, would actually hide something. Maybe this Bai Ye will be his own kind? Such thoughts flashed through his mind, but Aizen couldn't help but laugh. Ordinary Shinigami? Now that I have been studying at Spiritual Arts Academy for a while, I have the confidence to surpass the so-called vice-captain. Aizen raised his head and looked at Bai Ye, who was being watched like a cherished animal by his classmates in the crowd, and raised the corner of his mouth slightly. I don't know what the expressions of these ordinary souls would look like if I used all my strength. At this time, Bai Ye felt that the increasing amount of Ryutsu in his body suddenly stopped moving, and he also looked in the direction of Aizen. Sōsuke. What's the matter with you? Don't stop practicing. With a somewhat complicated mood, Bai Ye ended this morning's kendo class. The afternoon class is Kid class. Kid is a means for Shinigami to perform long-range attacks and various special attacks, some of which are like magic. Usually divided into Hadō, who is responsible for attacking, backhand, who is responsible for confinement, and Kidō, who heals the Shinigami. It was also in Kid class in the afternoon that Bai Ye discovered that Aizen's talent was truly pervert. Ding! Learning to bind objects head part 4 White Thunder. Host enhanced White Thunder and White Thunder destroyed chant version is being understood. Ding! Binding object acquisition backhand number 37, Hanging Star. Host enhances the Hanging Star and Hanging Star understanding like a broken chant. Ding! Binding object acquisition backhand number 39, Round Gate Fan. Host enhances Yuan Wu Fan and Yuan Wu Fan. Listening to the rising sound, Bai Ye felt that his whole soul was numb. Good guy. The teacher recited the incantation on the stage and explained the method, and I learned it on the spot. You should know that this short period of time in class is just to teach the methods, and the specific practice time is long even if calculated on a weekly basis. Unless you are someone like Kukaki Sojun, who has been taught practice methods and Kid at home since childhood, who has a basic knowledge of it. But Aizen can, and if he can, forget it, he won't say it yet, he's just holding it back. It should be said that he is worthy of being the big boss in the future. Even Bai Ye, who has been paying attention to Aizen for a long time, actually didn't realize that this kid is so enlightened. Bai Ye finally understood why Aizen would say something like, I don't mean to lie, it's just that none of you understand everything about me in the distant future. Who can understand this clearly? While others are still reciting the mantra, you will immediately release it without making a sound. Just roll. Don't say it yet. It's really bad. But even though I was criticizing Aizen's dog-curling behavior in my mind, I was secretly feeling happy. No way. As soon as Aizen realized it, he also realized it. It's still a hundredfold realization. Bai Ye has made up his mind now, but no matter what kind of boss Aizen is in the future, now he is his good plug-in. No. They are brothers. It's a pity that because normal students have limited learning ability, they ended the afternoon without teaching a few kid. Bai Ye really wanted to catch the teacher back to teach. And after an afternoon of whoring, Bai Ye also completely mastered 5th Gate Kid. Chapter 4. On the way back to the dormitory after school at Spiritual Arts Academy, Bai Ye and Aizen were walking side by side. At this time a voice suddenly came out. Aizen. Bai Ye. Bai Ye turned around when he heard the voice and saw that it was their roommate Ueno. Ueno came over and hooked their shoulders one by one. Aizen's expression remained unchanged as he shook his body, and Ueno's hand slipped down without him even realizing it. But Aizen didn't do anything else besides this action. The three of them were still walking side by side. His little move was seen by Bai Ye, who smiled inwardly. Aizen is still too young at this time. Although he is pretending, some details are still not done well. If it were the old Yunbai who wore glasses and put on a gentle smile to everyone, he would never do such a thing. Although it is a big boss, it is still a boss in the development stage. Ueno didn't feel embarrassed when he saw that neither of his roommates were chatting with him, so he continued talking on his own. Bai Ye, you guy, you really can't tell. Look, your self-discipline training every day has really worked out for you. How about it? Do you have the confidence to surpass young Master Kang Chun now? Bai Ye thought to himself that although he practiced a lot, he was only a little better than these classmates. While thinking about it, Bai Ye smiled and shook his head and pointed at Aizen next to him. They also said that I was hiding deep. Our dormitory is like crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Compared to Aizen, I'm still far behind. Ah! I didn't expect Sōsuke to be so powerful. Ueno, who said this, actually didn't take Bai Ye's words seriously at all, and just regarded them as a joke among classmates. But Aizen glanced at Bai Ye in surprise after hearing this. He didn't think Bai Ye was joking. Even though I hid it so well, did someone still discover it? Putting away the strange feeling in his heart, Aizen also smiled and waved his hand. Don't make fun of me. If I had Bai Ye's strength, I wouldn't be talked about so much by Morishita today. Don't say it. You were the one who went up before. Those of us who went up behind Bai Ye are miserable. Morishita was so merciless today. I was slapped by him and thought I was going to the infirmary. As Ueno spoke, he gestured to the part where he was hit by the sword today, making a very painful expression. By the way, when I just left school, I heard that Morishita guy talking to other teachers about today's events, and said that he wanted to report your talent to Team 13. From now on, Bai Ye, you will really have no limits. If you become successful in the future, don't forget your brothers, right? Aizen. Aizen smiled and nodded under Ueno's warm greeting. The three of them went back to the dormitory in a lively manner. The dormitory of Spiritual Arts Academy is for 4 people, Aizen Sōsuke, Ueno Yacho, Bai Ye, and 1 classmate. At this time, there was smoke coming from outside the dormitory. It was Bai Ye cooking vegetables on a simple stove. Except for Aizen, the other 2 roommates and people from the dormitory next door were watching. Although Soul Society is a place where souls live, ordinary souls here need to eat, unless they are powerful Shinigami who have absorbed spiritual power to the point where they do not need to eat or drink. Otherwise, if he wouldn't starve to death, there wouldn't be so many ghosts struggling to live in the Jinglingting from Rukanga. As mentioned earlier, the outside world that corresponds to Soul Society at this time is the Edo period. As for the real estate of the island country, even the royal family in this era is still eating pickled vegetables and pickled fish. The traditional culture of cooking can be said to be very poor. As a Hyuxia traveler, Bai Ye naturally couldn't bear it. From time to time, he would open a small stove by himself. Everyone in the dormitory who had eaten his food was full of praise. It's a bit of a waste of gas, but a spiritual arts academy, the school doesn't care about such a small expenditure. Under Bai Ye's stir-frying, several plates of stir-fried vegetables, grilled fish cubes and other dishes were quickly prepared. Although there was a little less seasoning, the aroma alone was far better than that in the canteen of Lingshu Academy, and it made people around the students who were watching swallowed their saliva one after another. But Bai Ye doesn't plan to share it with so many people, and he won't be able to share it with so many people. Bai Ye directly greeted his 2 roommates and asked them to serve him food. After a while, he and another classmate picked up the food and walked into the dormitory under the envious eyes of other students. That boy Ueno! What a good luck! I met a roommate with such skill as Bai Ye. The others could only leave a few sour words and went back to their respective dormitories. At this time, in the dormitory, several dishes of fragrant dishes were placed on the small table. Bai Ye also greeted him warmly. Aizen! Let's eat! Bai Ye suddenly started cooking because he was a little greedy. On the other hand, he was definitely preparing to reward Aizen. After all, if you want to capture a man's heart, you must first capture a man's heart. No. Wrong. I am a normal old man who likes little girls. Why do I want to capture a man's heart? This will be my own automatic learning machine plug-in in the future. We can't let him waste too much time on things other than cultivation. He must be allowed to practice more and study more. Otherwise, how can you treat yourself like a cow and a horse? Aizen didn't say much when he heard the call and moved a stool over. It has to be said that although he has no requirements at all for his appetite, who wouldn't want to eat something good? While the four of them were eating and chatting, the door of the dormitory was pushed open. The person who opened the door was Morishita. Bai Ye. You're eating well, kid. I have good news for you, Captain Anohana of the 4th Division wants to see you. Chapter 5. The captain of the 4th Division, Anohana-sama, wants to see you. Looking at Morishita, who suddenly pushed away the dormitory students, Bai Ye put down the chopsticks in his hand. Somewhat dazed. Flower of Mao? Hearing this surname, the image of a gentle sister with hair tied into a whip appeared in Bai Ye's mind. But then came a chill. What is that woman looking for? If it were the Ms. Hiwa who had a peaceful temperament and only occasionally showed a scary attitude 100 years later, then Bai Ye would still like to see it. But now is not hundreds of years later. Although others don't know it, Bai Ye knows it. Anohana's nickname before she was defeated by Captain Yamamoto was the greatest villain in the history of Soul Society. She is a pure fighting maniac. She even learned kite in the beginning so that she could kill people more freely, and then help others recover and continue to kill people. At this time, although she has handed over the title of Kenpeki and entered the 4th team, and started to work in medical logistics, but she may not know what her personality is like. I didn't notice that Bai Ye's expression changed slightly because he heard the name Yuajawa. Morishita was still talking about the reason why Bai Ye was lucky. Today, I wanted to tell the captain about you. But Captain Anohana just happened to hear it, and she said she wanted to meet you. You are really lucky. Seeing Morishita's cheerful look, Bai Ye just felt that it was not easy to say. But after thinking for a moment, Bai Ye nodded. I see. Anyway, no matter how cruel Captain Anohana is, he can't possibly eat himself, right? Then there's nothing to be afraid of, and you can just meet this beauty to see her horizons, so why not? Okay, the time is tomorrow. You go to the 4th Division to report. Don't oversleep just because tomorrow is a day off. Originally, Bai Ye wanted to stay with Morishita to eat something together, but Morishita said that his wife would not eat with them brats once her wife had cooked. After the meal was finished, everyone chatted for a while and then it was time to practice and sleep. Soul Society really doesn't have any entertainment options. Bai Ye also practiced symbolically and then lay down on the bed, but he didn't sleep today, but was thinking about his future plans and meeting Captain Anohana tomorrow. After thinking about it for almost half an hour, Bai Ye was ready to sleep, but suddenly there was a reminder in his mind. Ding! The bound object is practicing, and the Ryatsuo is increasing 100 times. Ding! Bound object acquisition head part 4 White Thunder breaking chant. Host is realizing it 100 times. Bai Ye, who was a little confused at first, suddenly opened his eyes. I go. There is a curly dog in the dormitory. Bai Ye now understands why he often pays attention to the big boss Aizen, but rarely sees him practicing seriously. In addition to normal practice when he returns to the dormitory every day, Ryatsu rarely sees him practicing Zanjutsu and Kid. It turns out that I secretly practice more here every day when everyone is asleep, right? And when did he go out? Although he was thinking about something, he didn't notice it at all. Bai Ye controlled his facial expression, glanced at Aizen's bed, and found that someone seemed to be lying on the quilt there. Bai Ye listened carefully again and could clearly hear the sounds of the other two roommates sleeping soundly. Then Bai Ye quietly got up from the bed and came to Aizen's bedside as quietly as possible. Aizen was lying there as if he was motionless. Bai Ye felt it carefully and found that the shadow on the bed seemed to have weak spiritual power fluctuations. Bai Ye understood instantly that this was Aizen's illusion. This is really outrageous. Aizen and he entered school on the same day. There is no way to grow the soul in Rukanga using Ryatsu's method, and Kid is not taught this aspect at all in school. In other words, the method for this illusion was probably developed by Aizen himself. Even Bai Ye had to sigh, Aizen's talent is truly terrifying. But then Bai Ye laughed again, it's scary. Still can't compare to a cheating player like myself. Aizen practices there, and his Ryutsu increases 100-fold. Bai Ye didn't go out, turned around and went back to his bed to lie down. He also tightened the quilt. If he continues at this rate, he will be able to equal Aizen's 100 days of secretly practicing. Wait until tomorrow, teacher Morishita may not be his opponent. Thinking of this, Bai Ye instantly felt comfortable and began to fall asleep on the spot. Chapter 6 Jinglingting, the fourth team building. Bai Ye stood in front of the team building and explained his purpose to the guard. Oh! Captain Anohana did ask that a student might come today. The guard nodded clearly and let him go. Bai Ye walked into the opposite door of Division 4. It has been almost a year since he traveled back in time. This is the first time Bai Ye has come to such a deep place in Jingling Court. This place is different from Rukanga. You can see Shinigami using Shunpo everywhere, and their figures are flickering. If his strength hadn't improved a lot last night, he might not even be able to see clearly. Under the leadership of the disciple he just talked to, Bai Ye walked in the fourth team's building. I have to say that although it is a team building, the environment is really not on the same level as the Spiritual Arts Academy building. There are everything like corridors and ponds. Bai Ye noticed that when he entered, many Shinigami wearing Division 4 uniforms were watching him from a distance. Maybe these Shinigami have heard about Bai Ye, or they are just simply curious. After all, Bai Ye was still wearing the two-color student uniform at this time. Coming to a door, the doorman knocked on the door. Your Excellency Uzawa, the student you want to see is here. Okay, let him in. A gentle response came from the door. The door was pushed open, and a room with many flowers appeared in front of Bai Ye. A woman with her hair tied into two braids hanging down in front of her body, wearing a black uniform and a white feather fabric appeared in Bai Ye's eyes. At this time, she was sitting on her knees on the floor, placing the trimmed bouquets of flowers on the ground in order in front of a bottle. There is no doubt that this is Anohana Retsu, captain of the 4th division. The real person is more beautiful than Bai Ye in the impression. Even if those big bright eyes are not looking at Bai Ye can feel the bright brilliance in them. The only fly in the ointment is her hairstyle. It would be more beautiful if she let it down as long hair. Bai Ye couldn't help but sigh when he looked at this woman with a gentle smile and flowers. It seems that in Seoul society, there is no one who likes to have a smile on her face when everything is fine. Coming. As if taking this as a greeting, Anohana Retsu put the flowers in his hands away and then turned to look at Bai Ye. Bai Ye also showed no airs and quickly bowed in the traditional Seoul society etiquette. Captain Anohana. Well. Come in, don't stand outside. Anohana Retsu smiled and motioned for Bai Ye to come in. Bai Ye walked into the room, and Menfan also left directly and closed the door. At this time, only Bai Ye and Mao's Hiwa were left in the room. But Bai Ye didn't feel like a deer bumping into each other. After all, in a room with this woman, it's hard to tell who is the little white rabbit and who is the big bad wolf. Uzawa's eyes were focused on Bai Ye, as if she wanted to see what kind of genius Morishita was talking about. Well, not bad. But Morishita's vision is still a bit lacking. You are not at the level of an ordinary graduate. With your current spiritual power, it is enough to serve as a captain in some teams. If Zanpakuto is strong enough or Kid is good at practice, it is not impossible to serve as deputy captain. There was some appreciation in Mao's Hiwa's tone, and then she looked directly into Bai Ye's eyes. Bai Ye couldn't hold back when he heard this. What are you doing? Why is that guy Aizen hiding his strength every day? You all act like you haven't seen it. Just take a look at me and I'll tell you what level I reached last night. In Godai Chapter 13, each team has a captain, a vice-captain, and the following chief officers, counting from the first to the last. In Shinigami, Rukia Kukaki was a chief officer when she first appeared. Of course, positions can only be divided into ordinary combat capabilities. There are quite a few people in this world who are as powerful as Aizen but don't show off. The way Bai Ye was thinking seemed to Anohanaretsu to be the nervousness after his strength was revealed. She laughed softly. Ha ha ha. Don't be so nervous. I came to see you today just to see what Morishita said about the beheading genius. As she spoke, Yuazawa pointed to the floor beside her, indicating that Bai Ye could sit down. Bai Ye also knelt down and sat opposite Anohanaretsu in a decent manner. Haha, I really can't hide it from Anohana-sama. Seeing that Bai Ye's strength was seen through, he was a little nervous but not complacent at all. Anohanaretsu nodded slightly in his heart. This seedling is not only talented, but also has a good character. Sure enough, I didn't waste my time in vain. Bai Ye, actually I called you here for one more thing today. I want to ask you something. Are you willing to graduate early and join our 4th team? Bai Ye was stunned when he heard this. Why did Captain Anohana suddenly say this? Bai Ye felt very puzzled. For a civilian soul like him, being able to join the Godai 13th Division was indeed a good treatment. But he didn't understand why Anohanaretsu said this. But he didn't expect that what surprised him was yet to come. It doesn't matter if you don't want to join the 4th Division. If you want to go to any division other than the 1st Division, I can help you talk about it. If you are willing to join the 4th Division, I can let you directly serve as the Chief Officer. Chapter 7. Not only can all teams be selected. If you join the 4th team, you will directly become the Chief Officer? Bai Ye became even more confused when he heard this. This is a direct transition from Shinigami to Chief Officer. Shinigami can't even ask for this kind of treatment. The remuneration in this is not just a slight improvement. It can be said that if Bai Ye can become the Chief Officer, Bai Ye will have taken root in Jinglingting and will be one of the masters of Jinglingting in the future. But why? How could Anohanaretsu be so kind to me when they first met? Bai Ye said in his heart that he knew I was handsome, but he didn't want to be charmed by Sister Hwa directly. Seeing the slightly embarrassed look on Bai Ye's face, Anohanaretsu's eyes narrowed. I can't decide. Could it be that some families have already attracted you? Is it the Kukaki family? Or the Shihaoran family? I remember that the young master of the Kukaki family is your classmate, right? It would be troublesome if it was the Tsuneyashiro family or the Shiba family. Although he squinted his eyes and his tone did not change, Bai Ye suddenly felt a hint of murderous intent in the voice. This made Bai Ye feel a little embarrassed. No, I'm just curious as to why I am so valued by Captain Anohana. After hearing the word no, the vague murderous intention in the room seemed to disperse a lot. That's it. Anohanaretsu breathed a sigh of relief. Sorry, I was a little abrupt. Although Bai Ye didn't know it, Anohanaretsu actually had a true love for talents. She heard that there was a genius who was as good as an instructor in slicing skills, and she originally wanted to take a look. After discovering that Bai Ye's strength actually exceeded Morishita's description, she was even more curious. What is the purpose of such a genius that he never shows his strength? As a genius in the art of beheading, she did not want this seedling to be involved in Soul Society's current somewhat chaotic situation. Too many foreign objects will interfere with Shinigami's practice, and even geniuses may get lost in it. Anohanaretsu has seen many examples of this, so she went out to recruit Bai Ye. After all, if such a beheading genius grows up, maybe one day he will become someone who can fight happily with him, right? At this time, Bai Ye didn't know that Sister Hwa was actually eyeing his talent, and he didn't want a possible future opponent like himself to be tainted by power. I'm just a little surprised by Anohanaretsu's attitude. The captain of the 4th Division actually apologized to him. Is he so polite? No, it's my problem. Bai Ye also quickly laughed and laughed. I will definitely join Godai 13 in the future, but I probably won't join the 4th team. After all, my talent for healing is not that good. Although Bai Ye didn't know what Sister Hwa was thinking, he could still sense that Sister Hwa seemed to be disgusted with him joining the noble party. Anyway, he didn't want to be a dog for some noble, so he simply said that he would join Godi 13. After hearing the reasons given by Bai Ye, Sister Hua nodded with satisfaction. Well, indeed, if you have a talent for cutting, you really shouldn't waste your talent in the 4th division. But if possible, Bai Ye, you can come to my place when you have a rest every week. Don't look at me like this, my cutting skills are still pretty good. Upon hearing this, Bai Ye's heart skipped a beat. I come here once a week. Does Sister Hua want to accept me as her disciple? In Bai Ye's impression, this woman was the type who would crazily squeeze the physical fitness of her training subjects, leaving them with no choice but to hold on to the wall. I still feel a little scared. But at this time, Anohanaretsu had already stood up, and opened his squinted eyes and stared straight at Bai Ye. It's not true, I want to let you know, Bai Ye, that I do have the ability to teach you. Anohana. There's no need for that. I know it very well. Bai Ye doesn't want to sparring with Anohanaretsu at all. Snapped. Anohanaretsu did not speak, but threw a wooden sword to Bai Ye. Then Bai Ye saw herself picking up a wooden sword. Bai Ye, I will attack you in 5 seconds. Bai Ye shouted in his heart that something was wrong. Broke in. I'm afraid that Sister Hua, who arranges flowers and does art every day, is actually holding back the desire to kill people. Now I'm addicted, I want to find any excuse and do it myself. 3 minutes later. Anohanaretsu's hand emits a gentle light, which is the kind that symbolizes healing. Your talent is indeed very good. The technique I used today is called sword pressure. I will tell you the specific method of using it later. You have to remember it. Bai Ye felt that the light was reducing the pain all over his body, but it was not healing his heart at all. I will check your exercise progress next week, don't forget to come, otherwise it will be quite troublesome for me to find you. Anohanaretsu didn't forget to hit last. Chapter 8. Bai Ye, who had been well trained by Captain Uzuhawa, although there was no physical damage, felt tired inside. He gently opened the door of his school building, but he didn't expect that the other 3 roommates had gathered together early. Ueno opened a seat and motioned for Bai Ye to sit down. The other 2 people also cast strange looks. Come on, brother Bai Ye, take a seat first. Tell me what the captain of the 4th team came to see you for today. Yes. Another roommate also echoed. Bai Ye looked helplessly at the scene, which was similar to the 3-party interrogation, and glanced at Aizen, who was also sitting on the chair with a curious baby expression. I didn't expect that. Suk, are you still interested in these 8 trigrams? Bai Ye cursed in his heart and waved his hand pretending to be nothing. It's okay, it's just that the captain of the 4th division heard that a handsome genius was born and wanted to meet him. Bai Ye's words made the other 3 people present laugh. I'll give you a good one. Tell me the truth. We brothers in the dormitory haven't found a way out yet. Have you been booked to go to the 4th division? Seeing Ueno's reluctance, Bai Ye could only shake his head helplessly. In fact, there is nothing to hide. Anyway, he will report to Sister Hua every week from now on. It was impossible to run away, and he didn't want to know what it would be like to go out to find someone personally, as Sister Hua said. And I didn't suffer any loss here. For example, didn't I get some pointers on cutting techniques and how to use sword pressure today? In the end, Bai Ye had no choice but to tell the truth. It's nothing, it's just Captain Anohana asking me to go to Division 4 once a week to learn something from her. Bai Ye said it in an understatement, but Ueno's reaction was huge. What? I call you here every week and teach you something. Master Uzuhawa wants to accept you as his apprentice. Ueno looked at Bai Ye with excitement, as if looking at the future captain of the 4th division. No, Captain Uzuhawa didn't say he wanted to accept a disciple. Bai Ye felt guilty for saying this for some reason. It's so good. Another classmate also came over. Bai Ye, you are really powerful now. Maybe we will still be team members in the future, and you will be the chief. After hearing what he said, Bai Ye suppressed a smile in his heart. To be honest, if I had accepted it just now, then you would be students and I would be the chief official. Bai Ye listened to their chatter and quietly looked at Aizen, only to find that the boy still had a smile on his face. Although he was listening, he didn't interrupt much. Soon the three of them were noisy for a while before they stopped. It was not until the afternoon when they were still excited that they made an appointment to go out together to buy some snacks and celebrate together in the evening. Although the island country of this era has introduced the concept of a week, Zhengyang Spiritual Arts Academy does not have double holidays. With only one day off a week, these Shinigami students have a lot to do. After the two left, Aizen and Bai Ye were the only ones left in the dormitory. Bai Ye originally wanted to practice the sword pressure taught by Sister Hua, but after thinking for a long time, he felt that he understood it, but he didn't understand much. His eyes caught sight of Aizen, who was reading a book next to him, and he had a plan in mind. Bai Ye stood up and came to Aizen. Aizen, why don't I see you practicing on the weekend? Aizen put down his book and looked at Bai Ye. I'm not like you. I'm already tired from practicing on a daily basis. I think I should relax a bit on my days off. Bai Ye said in his heart, if Ryutsu hadn't risen so much last night, I would have really believed it. Moreover, if you really don't want to be a curly dog, I won't agree. So Bai Ye's face turned serious. Aizen, you can't do this. Come on, I'll give you the skills Captain Anohana taught me today. Ah! Aizen was a little surprised when he heard this, and then shook his head slightly. No need, this kind of Kide technology is of no use to me. Aizen didn't know the true identity of Anohanaretsu yet, so he thought Bai Ye was going to learn Kide. It's not Kide, it's sword skills. Bai Ye couldn't help but pulled Aizen up. Aizen felt a little strange. He couldn't tell clearly whether Bai Ye really cared about his classmates who didn't work hard, or if it was something else. After all, Bai Ye once said that he knew he was hiding his strength. Then he still wants to leave this technology to himself alone. The reason is worth studying deeply. However, Aizen still let Bai Ye grab him and walk out while starting to explain how to use the sword pressure. Chapter 9. As Bai Ye walked, he did not forget to talk to Aizen about how to use the sword pressure. Bai Ye's destination is an open space he found before that usually has no people, and he plans to let Aizen make contact there. As for why we need to teach Aizen, of course Aizen can do it, and he can do it himself. And it's a hundredfold realization. But something happened that surprised even Bai Ye. After he finished explaining how to use the sword pressure, Aizen seemed to be silent for a moment. Then Bai Ye heard a ding. Ding. Bound objects to learn how to use sword pressure. Host is realizing it 100 times. Bai Ye almost staggered when he heard this. Good guy. I studied it for dozens of minutes, but I still feel like something is missing. You figured it out without even holding the sword, right? Although the sword pressure move is not a particularly rare move, many Shinigami can use it. But Aizen's understanding is too outrageous. Feeling the growing understanding of the sword pressure move in his mind, Bai Ye felt refreshed. Even if you understand it, you will still be no match for a cheater like me. When the two arrived at the open space, Bai Ye shook his head and looked at Aizen, who was still a little reluctant on his face. How's it going? Aizen, have you learned it? Aizen narrowed his eyes and shook his head slightly after hearing this. I'm not a genius. I don't have that kind of ability. You walked and talked at the same time, but I didn't even listen to you. Seeing Aizen pretending not to know anything, Bai Ye smiled crookedly inwardly. You like to pretend, right? It's time to turn up the intensity on you. Lest you feel that your talent is invincible every day, then if you slack off in your practice, I will suffer a loss. Bai Ye decided to show Aizen some talent. As for the method. Okay, since you didn't remember it, let me demonstrate it again. Bai Ye said lightly and took out the sealed state from his waist. Then the whole body's spiritual power was directly stretched to its current peak. Aizen, who was still squinting, suddenly opened his eyes. Feeling this Ryutsu, who was as good as Ziguan, Aizen felt surprised for the first time since entering Zhengyang Spiritual Academy that something was completely out of his knowledge. He never expected that yesterday's strength, which was comparable to that of powerful graduates, was not even Bai Ye's peak. In other words, my roommate, like me, has powers far beyond those of ordinary people, but has never shown them. And yesterday, maybe part of it was revealed due to some accident. And this Ryutsu, although not as good as him, can really throw away his classmates. This is also a real monster. But the surprise wasn't over yet. Bai Ye drew out the sealed state and raised his sword in the air. A wave of spiritual power came from Bai Ye's sealed state. That kind of tilting force from top to bottom condensed into something visible to the naked eye in the air and flew straight into the sky. The expression of sword pressure is actually very similar to Kurosaki Ichigo's Getsuga Tenshi, and he even explained this himself. They all condense Ryutsu into energy attacks like sword energy, and there are many changes depending on the user. For example, Bai Ye's sword energy was solidified just now, like a sharp wave. The power of this sword was beyond expectations even for Bai Ye himself. The sword light kept flying towards the sky above Soul Society, and it stopped after traveling about 100 meters. Bai Ye quickly inserted the sword and started running. Aizen, gone. Gone. I think someone will come to see what happened here later. If you are caught, I will say that you are trying to save trouble and don't want to go to the training ground on your rest day, so you ran outside to face Tian Fang. Aizen was still surprised. After all, this kind of gaze level and proficiency does not look like someone who just learned it in the morning. Obviously he has learned it, but his proficiency is nearly 100 times different from Bai Ye's performance. Aizen also truly realized it at this moment. Bai Ye is also a genius, even a genius who has surpassed himself. Maybe even Ryutsu, who is comparable to the chief officer, is not all of his strength. However, Aizen's thoughts were brought back to reality by Bai Ye's shouting. What a guy I can't see through. He sighed softly, and suddenly showed himself the strength he had always hidden, but now he put on a cool posture with a playful smile. But Aizen wasn't idle either. As a person who also didn't like trouble, he also took advantage of Shunpo and left. However, after the two left, they didn't notice that before the Shinigami on duty came here, a short girl with dark skin sneaked out from the grass. Take a few deep breaths. The sword pressure just now was really scary. Fortunately, my concealment skills are good. Having said this, the little girl had another evil smile on her face. But when did Soul Society produce such a genius? Do you want me to contact him on behalf of our Shihaoran family? While thinking about it, she also disappeared into the clearing. Bai Ye, who still didn't know that he was being targeted by a troublesome woman, returned to his dormitory. After some time, the other two roommates came back. This time I actually brought some ingredients and side dishes. Bai Ye showed off his cooking skills again, and everyone had a lively meal together. At night, everyone did their own thing, but something unexpected happened to Bai Ye. He discovered that Aizen was actually practicing Ryutsu. Feeling the natural growth of his body, Ryutsu almost burst out laughing. Knew it. Aizen still needs to be strengthened. Now he doesn't feel oppressed anymore. He doesn't even pretend to pretend and just starts practicing. Chapter 10. Ding. The bound object is practicing, and the Ryutsu is increasing 100 times. Ding. The bound object is practicing beheading skills, and the beheading skills are increasing 100-fold. Bai Ye heard this familiar voice again in the middle of the night, and he couldn't help but open his eyes and look outside. I fell asleep happily, and when I woke up, my Ryutsu level reached the deputy captain level. In the morning, inside the Spiritual Arts Academy, Morishita stood on the stage and said excitedly, "Classmates, I have some good news for you. Today, the captain of our Godi 13th Division, Mr. Yamamoto, will come to the academy to give guidance to everyone." As soon as this statement came out, the students in the audience were excited. "Your Majesty the Captain! He is actually coming to school! Oh my God! This is the first time I have met Mr. Yamamoto." Listening to everyone's heated discussion, Morishita did not stop. Instead, he allowed the students to discuss. Because he knows what a great name Captain Yamamoto is to these students. Even for him, it is a great honor to have Mr. Yamamoto come to inspect his work. After all, that's Yamamoto. Yamamoto Shigakuni, or as he is more commonly known, Yamamoto Genrisai. Founder and captain of the Shirai Godi 13, founder of the Spiritual Arts Academy, and legendary for millennia as a powerful Shinigami who has never surpassed him. Even the captain of the squad had to kneel down half-kneeling when he saw him. For these young Shinigami, it is not an exaggeration to use God as a metaphor for such a character. Bai Ye in the audience was also startled when he heard the news, and then he poked Aizen in front of him. "Tell me, Captain Yamamoto, did you discover that you are a potential threat to Soul Society and have come to deal with you?" Aizen in front turned his head speechlessly, not wanting to talk to Bai Ye at all. "I said in my heart that if I want to deal with it, I must first deal with you, the monster. I practiced sword pressing all night yesterday, but I still can't do it to that level." Old Yamamoto does not have such a majestic image in Bai Ye's mind. Although he is a strong Shinigami, his combat effectiveness is still within the top 10 until the late stage, and his combat effectiveness seems to be even stronger when he is young. But in the final analysis, old man Yamamoto's current body, whose physical strength has declined due to old age, is not as good as Aizen's at his peak. Even old man Yamamoto self-destructed one hand against Aizen who had Gyaku at the time, but Aizen was only injured. "I get along with Aizen every day, and when Yamamoto comes to see everyone, it feels like a school leader came to inspect, nothing else." After the students in the audience had finished talking, Morishita coughed a few times. "So, everyone, get ready. We will gather at the Sword Dojo later and show Mr. Yamamoto what our Class 4 looks like." "Yes." The students in the audience answered in unison. After a while, the students gathered together at the Sword Dojo, and Bai Ye also saw Yamamoto, who was guarded by a bunch of Shinigami. It was an old man with a cross-slash pattern on his head, also wearing a Death Domination uniform and a white feather fabric. His eyes were squinted and he was holding a cane. He looked kind and majestic. Bai Ye laughed inwardly. After all, the so-called guards around Yamamoto probably couldn't defeat him even if they were packed together. "Students of Spiritual Arts Academy, you are the strength of youth and the hope of Shirai's future. I hope you can." As soon as Yamamoto opened his mouth, Bai Ye felt that the smell of a school leader's inspection became stronger. The people around him were very excited when they heard it. Only he and Aizen showed nothing, and seemed out of tune with the surrounding people. However, Bai Ye didn't notice when he was distracted. When Yamamoto was speaking, his eyes looked at him intentionally or unintentionally. In fact, unlike any regular inspection, Yamamoto came with a purpose this time. Yamamoto's life is very busy, and he rarely takes time for such things. It's just that the recent Shirai can't really be said to be peaceful. Some families seem to be undercurrents because he hasn't taken action for too long. And in recent days, there has been some intention to put activities on the table. This will be a crisis for the entire Soul Society. So he needs to be here to inspire these future Soul Society hopes. Lest the students are too young and cannot tell the difference between right and wrong, and get involved in this Uzumaki because of fame and fortune. And his second purpose of coming here. After finishing his speech, Yamamoto waved his hand, and the teachers and students of the school naturally dispersed to make way for the center of the Sword Dojo. Yamamoto walked forward with his cane in hand. Haha, I won't waste everyone's study time. Let's do this. I will give some guidance to a few classmates and everyone will like it. I heard that there is a classmate named Bai Ye who can compete with the teacher in the beheading class. I wonder who he is. Chapter 11. Bai Ye watched in the group of students as old man Yamamoto stood in the dojo and commanded. Looking at him, he said he wanted to mentor a few students. He was still happy at this moment, thinking that it would be best to choose Aizen, the old silver coin. He likes to hide so much, let's see if he can hide it when faced with old man Yamamoto. But he never expected that the next moment he heard his name. Classmate Bai Ye, who is he? Bai Ye was stunned on the spot, and then he realized that the classmates and teachers around him were looking at him. This guy Morishita was even more excited. Bai Ye, go! The captain is calling you. Bai Ye looked at the eyes of everyone watching him, and looked left and right without realizing it, and then he reluctantly walked out after confirming that he was really being called. When Bai Ye walked out, he heard many students sighing. This is that Bai Ye. I heard that his roommate said that he had been accepted as a disciple by the captain of the 4th division. Yes. I just found out today that we have such a handsome junior in our school. I was really at a loss before. The person who said this was a female student in a white school uniform with scarlet trousers. She seemed to be regretting that she had not discovered Bai Ye before. Listening to people's discussions, Bai Ye was speechless. What a good winnow! It's only been one morning, and you've already spread my story to the whole school, right? Bai Ye also noticed that when he walked out, Aizen next to him seemed to have a faint smile on his lips. When Bai Ye stood outside the crowd, Yamamoto looked at Bai Ye up and down, nodding secretly. At least he looks like the old man when he was young. However, Yamamoto remained calm on the face and continued to call out several names. Kukaki Aijun. Ryu Adachi Wooden Golem. Yamada Sanashuk. When their names were called, Shinigami walked out of the crowd with excitement on their faces. These people stood in a row with Bai Ye who came out first. And Yamamoto is watching them too. If my information is correct, you are currently the most outstanding students in the Spiritual Arts Academy. Hearing this, other students held their heads high and were very proud that their achievements were known to Yamamoto. Only Bai Ye cursed in his heart, good guy. How strong is that Aizen guy's hidden Ryutsu technique? Old man Yamamoto was standing so close and didn't realize there was a monster hiding in the crowd. Sam's eyes scanned the people present one by one, and the eyes of all the teachers and students in the school were also focused here. So, who of you is willing to be the first to come out and spar with me? Yamamoto glanced at Bai Ye intentionally or unintentionally when he said this, but Bai Ye's main character is to remain unmoved. And the Shinigami around him obviously didn't wait for anyone, so Kukaki Sojun was the first to stand up. Your Excellency, Captain, I would like to be the first. Seeing Kukaki Kangchun stand up, several other people present and Bai Ye consciously stepped back. Very good. He is indeed a child of the Kukaki family. He is very much like your father. Although Yamamoto wanted Bai Ye to be the first to stand up, he still praised him. Many people may not know Kukaki Sojun, but many people must know about his son and adopted daughter. He is the future vice-captain of Division 6. He is also a famous man whose proficiency in pretending is second only to Aizen. He is the father of Byakuya Kukaki and the adoptive father of Rukia Kukaki, who in Shinigami can't tell whether he is the heroine or the daughter. As the young master of the Kukaki family, the head of the 4 nobles, Kukaki Sojun is not only outstandingly talented, but his father is also the captain of the 6th division, Kukaki Jinrei, who fought with old man Yamamoto. It can be said that if Aizen and Bai Ye were not both in this batch, he would definitely be the best among all the students in this batch in the future. The young Kukaki Aokun did not have the overly quiet and gentle feeling later on, and showed full fighting spirit and enterprising spirit. Your Excellency, Captain, please enlighten me. After listening to Yamamoto's words, Kokaki Sojun also bowed very respectfully. The old man Yamamoto on the opposite side also picked up the cane casually, while Kokaki Sojun, who was standing not far in front of Bai Ye, directly drew out the Zanpakut. None of the teachers and students present felt there was anything wrong with this. After all, that is Yamamoto, and even if White hits his opponent Bankai with his bare hands, few of the current Godi 13 captains are confident that they can defeat him. Not to mention Kokaki Sojun, who is just a student. Bring it on! As Yamamoto finished speaking, Ryutsu surged in Kokaki Sojun's body. Feeling the intensity of this Ryutsu, even Bai Ye was a little surprised. It was almost close to his level yesterday. In other words, this Kokaki Sojun may not be as strong as a chief officer now, but as an elite among ordinary Shinigami it's totally fine. And as the other party pronounced Zanpakut's true name, the blade began to change. That was Shikai's power. Only those who can achieve the first interpretation and sealed state can be called Zanpakut. Before that, although the Shinigami knew the name of the sword, they looked almost the same and their abilities could not be used to the maximum extent. And being able to Shikai at this age proves that Kokaki Sojun is indeed a genius. It's just a pity that he was facing that Yamamoto. Chapter 12. Bang bang! Yamamoto Genryusai Shigakuni waved his cane casually, like an old man driving away mosquitoes. But even with such a casual wave, he was able to neutralize the attacks arranged by Kokaki Sojun. Whether it was Kid or a close-up slicing technique, Yamamoto could break it with just a casual tap of the cane. And even in action, Yamamoto did not release the huge Ryutsu on his body. It can only be said that he is worthy of being ranked as a strong person in the future. It is relatively easy to face a student. After playing against each other several times, Yamamoto seemed to have seen through Kokaki Sojun's true nature. The cane that was swung casually also gained some strength. With a clashing sound, the Zanpakut in Kokaki Sojun's hand was knocked out, rolled several times in the air and inserted into the ground of the training ground. Thanks for the advice. When Kokaki Sojun saw Zanpakut let go of his hand, he immediately withdrew his temari bow. Yet, Kid's training level is pretty good for your age. Shunpo and Zanjutsu still need practice. After briefly commenting on Kokaki Soken, Yamamoto looked at the several students waiting on the field. His eyes lingered on Bai Ye's body intentionally or unintentionally. But Bai Ye didn't stop forward as he wanted. Your Excellency, Captain, I would like to ask for your advice. The second one to stand out is Ryudanji Wooden Golem. Good. Yamamoto nodded and waited for Ryudanji Wooden Golem to take action. Seeing that it was Ryudanji Wooden Golem who stood up, the others were looking forward to it. After all, Ryudanji Wooden Golem is also famous in the academy, and its strength is second only to Kokaki Kangsun who is present. And his most powerful thing is not the sword, but the ability to kill Shungi, which is white hits. Kokaki Kanken had just passed a dozen moves at the hands of Yamamoto. I don't know how long Ryudanji Wooden Golem can last under Yamamoto by relying on his best white hits. Under the spotlight, Ryudanji Wooden Golem took out the sealed state, took a deep breath, released his strongest Ryutsu, and forced Yamamoto with a horizontal slash. Yamamoto waved his cane casually, just as he did when facing Kokaki Kanken. Ryudanji Wooden Golem's Ryutsu seems to Yamamoto as if it doesn't exist and cannot cause any pressure at all. Cut vertically. Straight thrust. Up. Ryudanji Wooden Golem used all the kendo skills he had learned to attack Yamamoto from various tricky angles. However, Yamamoto still only waved his cane slightly to neutralize all the moves of Ryudanji Wooden Golem. Dang! Even Ryudanji Wooden Golem didn't notice that his sealed state was knocked out by Yamamoto with his cane and fell to the ground not far away. One of Had Chong. Subconsciously, Ryudanji Wooden Golem used one of Had's moves. The fingertips of his left hand shot out and fired a small shock wave, directly in front of Yamamoto's face. At the same time, his right hand quickly hit Yamamoto's head. Head number 4, White Thunder. As if he felt it was not safe enough, Ryuadaji Wooden Golem then used another head move. 2 head moves were fired in succession, plus white hits, making everyone present unable to react. Not bad. Your white hits and Kid are well integrated, but there is still a gap between the moves. Yamamoto was commenting on Ryuadaji Wooden Golem's moves and gently tapped Ryuadaji Wooden Golem's forehead with his cane. Ryudanji Wooden Golem felt like his whole body was frozen and unable to move. As for the 2 head moves he just performed, they were like marshmallows on Yamamoto's body, neither painful nor itchy. Immediately afterwards, he felt his body being forced back by a powerful force, and he took several steps back. "Thank you, Captain, for your advice." After steadying his steps, Ryuadaji Wooden Golem, knowing that he had lost, bowed fiercely. "I didn't expect that the white hits and Kid of Ryuadaji Wooden Golem have been integrated so well. Yet, I didn't expect him to make so much progress secretly. If Kukaki Kanken encounters Ryuadaji Wooden Golem, he probably won't get much benefit." The performance of Ryudanji Wooden Golem shocked the students and teachers who were watching. No one expected Ryuadaji Wooden Golem to have such a high level of understanding of white hits, which made everyone look forward to the next challenger. Next one. Yamamoto stared at the remaining people who were not present, and his eyes rested on Bai Ye again. Being stared at by Yamamoto, Bai Ye lowered his head as if he couldn't see. "If he wants me to come out, I won't. He doesn't want to take the initiative to stand up and be abused." The more critical point is that when Wooden Golem and Kukaki Kanken played against Yamamoto in Ryuadaji Temple, Bai Ye received a system prompt. Ding! The bound object is practicing, and the Ryutsu is increasing 100 times. Ding! The bound object has a new understanding of beheading. The cutting skills are increasing 100-fold. Ding! Binding objects have a new understanding of white hits. White hits is growing hundreds of times. Aizen is a guy who can learn the moves of others even by watching them fight. Moreover, I also gained new insights based on the other party. Well done. He is worthy of being the #1 pushover king of Shinigami. Modo. Keep trying to understand. Don't stop. With Aizen improving so quietly, Bai Ye didn't want to miss this opportunity to increase his strength. He even wanted Yamamoto to pick a few more people to play and fight him one by one. In the process, Aizen continues to learn more. By then, you will have even more skills that you can increase. Chapter 13. As Bai Ye expected, another brave man stood up. "Your Excellency, Captain, please advise." Yamada Sōsuke stood up, and without further ado, he directly drew the sealed state and used the slicing technique on Yamamoto. Yamada Sōsuke does not have as powerful Ryutsu and Kid moves as Ryuadaji Wooden Golem and Kukaki Soken, and some are just simple slashing techniques. In conjunction with Ryutsu, the Zanjutsu proved to be a success in the hands of Yamada Sōsuke. There are not many gorgeous moves between each sword, but the moves are deadly. It can be said that Yamada Sōsuke already has his own certain understanding of the art of beheading. But in front of Yamamoto, it's still not enough. He is only slightly more proficient in slicing skills than his peers. For a 1,000-year-old warrior like Yamamoto, Yamada Sōsuke's slicing skills are like a child playing around with a wooden sword. With just one move, Yamada Sōsuke's sealed state didn't even get close to Yamamoto, so he was lightly hit on the head by Yamamoto's crutch. "Your slashing skills are pretty good, but you need to learn to use them with shunpo, and your footwork is still lacking." Yamada Sōsuke nodded dejectedly and bowed to thank Yamamoto for his advice. The slicing technique that he had practiced for so long still had numerous shortcomings in Yamamoto's eyes, which was still a bit of a shock to him. "Continue." Yamamoto shouted again, and another student stood up. At this time, Bai Ye pretended to watch the competition on the field, but in fact his thoughts were all on the system's beep. Wonderful. Fantastic. Ding. The bound subject has a new understanding of Zanjutsu and Kid. In the process of mastering it, the cutting skills in Kid are increasing 100 times. Ding. Binding objects have a new understanding of Shunpo. Shunpo is growing hundreds of times. With each trial, Aizen gained new insights based on the other person's emphasis. At the same time, Bai Ye is also increasing his strength 100-fold at the same time. In just one competition, Bai Ye gained a new understanding of how to kill Shungi, and Ryutsu was also growing crazily. Bai Ye! Bai Ye! Just as Bai Ye was immersed in the feeling of increasing strength, he suddenly heard someone calling his name, and then he slowly came back to his senses. Bai Ye blinked and looked at the classmate calling him with a puzzled look on his face. At the same time, he also noticed that Yamamoto and other onlookers looked at him strangely. Did classmate Bai Ye realize something? It's your turn. Yamamoto did not expose Bai Ye's distraction and smoothed things over for Bai Ye. Is it my turn? Bai Ye was a little surprised when he heard this. Why so fast? How long has it been since then, and all those people on the field have finished competing? He still wants to continue to improve his strength. The idea is always beautiful, but the reality is tragic. Even if Bai Ye is reluctant, he can only take out the sealed state and take a step forward. Bai Ye, this guy is bragging about his strength, look at how timid he is. When I used the slashing technique to force back Morishita-sensei, I wasn't that strong. Even people like Kukaki Soken could do it, or even do it better. This guy never dared to come out. By the end, he was probably scared. Seeing that Bai Ye had been hiding until the end before standing up, especially the action of taking out the sealed state was not as clean and neat as others, which made several nobles below ridicule him. Bai Ye himself is a wild ghost from Rukanga. The last time he was in the limelight, he naturally made them, the noble children, unhappy. Now he hopes that Bai Ye can make a fool of himself under Yamamoto. This Bai Ye. Even Kukaki Kankan and others shook their heads, and their impression of Bai Ye was lower. If you are so hesitant and timid, how can you be a qualified Shinigami in the future? Aizen, who was secretly observing in the audience, was also puzzled by Bai Ye's performance. Could it be that this roommate was not as talented as he imagined? Let's take action. Yamamoto, on the other hand, looked at Bai Ye expressionlessly, waiting for Bai Ye to make a move. Your Excellency, Captain, please give me your advice. Bai Ye held the sealed state in one hand and stood looking at Yamamoto intently. The next moment, an extremely powerful Ryutsu surged out of Bai Ye's body. Look out, this is Ryutsu that has increased 100 times after Aizen's power leveling. Just now, Bai Ye noticed that Aizen's eyes seemed doubtful, and he made up his mind to fully demonstrate his strength. Only in this way can Aizen be stimulated even more. Immediately afterwards, Bai Ye assumed a slashing posture, and the extremely powerful Ryutsu gathered on the sealed state. What? His Ryutsu? This Ryutsu is almost at the level of vice-captain, right? The powerful Ryutsu that emerged from Bai Ye surprised Kukaki Kankan and others. Even some of the weaker students off the field were affected by Bai Ye's Ryutsu and felt dizzy. Call out! A sound broke through the air. No one could see clearly how Bai Ye moved, only an afterimage of him left behind. The next second, everyone saw that Bai Ye had already approached Yamamoto, sealed state, and slashed at Yamamoto with the afterimage. Chapter 14. Boom! The sealed state and the crutch collided together, erupting with a powerful punch. People who were close to the sidelines couldn't bear the impact and fell backward. Seeing Bai Ye's moves, Yamamoto's eyes showed a little satisfaction, and he felt more expectant, wanting to see what other moves Bai Ye had. Had Part 4, Bai Lei Po Abandoned Chant Version. Had Number 11, Thunder and Lightning Destroyed Abandoned Chant Version. Bai Ye did not let Yamamoto down. He missed a single blow and used Kid one after another. That's Kid, but why is it different from ours? Longtan Temple Wooden Golem smacked his lips, and his whole body was shocked to an unparalleled degree by Bai Ye's Kid technique. He has mastered the abandoned chanting versions of these Kid techniques. Kukaki Kankan, who is a nobleman, is more knowledgeable and can tell at a glance what is the difference between Bai Ye's Kid and the ordinary Kid technique. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. A wild ghost from Rukanga, who has been in school for less than 2 years, has already mastered Kid to this extent. Is he really a genius? No matter how shocked the onlookers were, Bai Ye's attack continued. 2 Kid techniques were used in succession, but still could not move Yamamoto at all. Bai Ye was not discouraged and continued to change his attack methods. Cut. Walk. Instant. Ghost. Each move is used frequently, making it dizzying to watch. Yamamoto, who had been using crutches to resist Bai Ye's attack, nodded slightly, with a slight smile in his eyes. Every move of Bai Ye is displayed vividly, without any delay, and the connection of each move is very smooth and silky. The more this happens, the higher Yamamoto's inner evaluation of Bai Ye is. It seems that his trip was not in vain. The Spiritual Arts Academy is going to produce a genius who can shock the 4 nobles. Aizen below looked at Bai Ye's attack and was a little surprised. It can be said that he also mastered these moves used by Bai Ye, but Bai Ye used them more skillfully than him. Even above him. It turns out that white hits, cutting technique, and shunpo can be used together like this. Watching Bai Ye's moves, Aizen understood a lot of things. Ding! The bound object has a new understanding of Zanjutsu, Kid, shunpo, and white hits. In the process of mastering it, Zanjutsu, Kid, shunpo, and white hits are increasing hundreds of times. Listening to the system prompts, Bai Ye felt happy. Is there such a good thing? Unexpectedly, Aizen, who was not willing to be outdone, could still practice at the same time as he watched his moves, which made his strength grow rapidly again. If there is an opportunity to increase his strength, Bai Ye will naturally not let it go and attack Yamamoto with all his strength. What's going on? Why does this guy get braver as he fights? No, why is the Ryutsu still growing while he's beating it? Seeing Bai Ye wildly attacking Yamamoto as if he had taken strong medicine, the onlookers Kukaki Kankan and others noticed something was wrong with Bai Ye. Is this guy a perpetual motion machine who doesn't know how to get tired? Not to mention Kukaki Kankan and others, even Aizen who was practicing off the field was hit by Bai Ye again. Just now, he thought that his ability to kill instant ghosts had improved to the same level as Bai Ye's. As a result, Bai Ye changed his attack and became more precise and neat. At this time, Bai Ye's strength was greatly improved. At this moment, Bai Ye suddenly distanced himself and used Had 54, Wasted Flames and Abandoned Chant version. That is. Yamamoto's escorts and the teachers present all stared at Bai Ye in shock. Bai Ye has actually hit Kid in the 54th move. Is this speed of cultivation too heaven-defying? The old god was here. Yamamoto saw Bai Ye using Had 54 Destruction Flame, and raised his eyebrows slightly. Have you used all your strength? Seeing Bai Ye use this move, Yamamoto thought that Bai Ye had used all his moves. This should be Bai Ye's strongest move. When Bai Ye rushed towards Yamamoto with huge flames, Yamamoto's crutch waved lightly, directly blowing away the waste flames. Just when Yamamoto was about to praise Bai Ye, he suddenly realized that Bai Ye hadn't stopped. Had S57 the earth rotates and destroys the abandoned chant version. For a moment, the entire venue shook, and a huge crack suddenly appeared where Yamamoto stood. The next second, Bai Ye waved the sealed state and released the sword pressure. A condensed sword energy quickly rushed towards the door in front of Yamamoto. Before it was over, Bai Ye Shunpo stepped out, leaving after images for everyone, and approached Yamamoto. Kid, sword pressure, Shunpo, every move is perfectly connected and almost all are instantaneous. Bai Ye's operation can be said to reflect his current strength into ultimate. Even though it was Yamamoto, he didn't expect that Bai Ye would give him an unexpected surprise at the last minute, and he was a little stunned. In such a stunned moment, Bai Ye's sealed state was just a few centimeters away from Yamamoto's throat. After Yamamoto reacted, he slightly released his Ryutsu, directly dispersing all Bai Ye's attacks. Bai Ye was forced back several steps by this powerful Ryutsu before he stabilized his body. Your Excellency, Captain, thank you for your advice. Bai Ye originally wanted to fight a little longer, but he understood that the instruction was over and bowed. The whole place was deathly silent. Chapter 15. Time. It's like stagnation. For several seconds, no one in the room made any move, as if the pause button had been pressed. Bai Ye-san, your talent is very strong. If you are not inferior to Anohanaretsu, you may be able to surpass her in the future. I hope you can work hard and become a powerful Shinigami in the future. The silent scene was broken by Yamamoto's voice, and everyone came back to their senses. When everyone heard this, they were shocked and speechless. His qualifications are not lower than those of Captain Anohanaretsu. In other words, if Bai Ye can develop normally and exist like Anohanaretsu in the future, he will be a captain-level figure. Moreover, Yamamoto, a 1,000-year-old warrior, has seen more geniuses than he can count. But everyone has never heard of Yamamoto praising someone so generously in front of anyone. The implication is that Bai Ye can be said to have received Yamamoto's inner approval. Kukaki Kankan, Ryutangji Wooden Golem and other quick-thinking people looked at Bai Ye with unusual eyes. It is no exaggeration to say that after receiving such praise from Yamamoto, Bai Ye can be said to have gone sideways in the Spiritual Arts Academy. Moreover, as long as Bai Ye can continue to maintain his talent, it is certain that he will graduate and enter Godi 13 in the future. Thank you, Captain, for your advice. I will definitely work hard next time. Yamamoto praised him so much, Bai Ye naturally put on a good attitude and answered respectfully. Yamamoto nodded slightly, becoming more and more satisfied with Bai Ye's performance. Neither humble nor arrogant, very talented, and the fighting process is also very neat and clean. The more I watch it, the more I like it. Even Yamamoto was slightly interested in accepting a disciple. Okay, today's competition is over. Today's goal has been achieved. Yamamoto is confident about Bai Ye's strength and is ready to return home. Morishita and other academy teachers immediately came to greet Yamamoto. When leaving, Yamamoto suddenly stopped and turned to look at Bai Ye. Classmate Bai Ye. Your Excellency, Captain, please speak. Bai Ye was confused when Yamamoto called his name again. I heard that you were training at Anohana's place. Yamamoto narrowed his eyes and asked with a smile, just like an elder in the family greeting his favorite junior. Yes. Bai Ye nodded and responded. Well, if you have nothing to do, you can go to her to practice more. If you graduate successfully, come see me again then. Having said this, Yamamoto paused, looked at Bai Ye, and continued, if you can pass my test then, you can choose the position of deputy captain of any division of the Godi 13th Division. Work hard, classmate Bai Ye. After saying these words, Yamamoto turned and left, leaving a shadow behind for everyone. The position of vice-captain can be chosen at will. You can still practice with Captain Anohanaretsu at any time. It wasn't until Yamamoto walked away that everyone who had thought about it carefully chewed on what Yamamoto had just said. The more you look into it, the more incredible it becomes. Could it be that Captain Yamamoto has hinted to Bai Ye to train him as a half-disciple? Damn it, how come this Rukonga wild ghost has such a good life? He's really lucky. Several noble children who had just ridiculed Bai Ye gritted their teeth and were extremely jealous of Bai Ye. Why? Bai Ye, a wild ghost from Rukonga, has such a high talent. Even if he has such a high talent, he can still receive such high attention from Yamamoto. You must know that Yamamoto has never said this kind of thing since he became the captain. Bai Ye. You are so awesome. At this time, Ueno and another roommate could no longer suppress their inner joy and rushed up to hug Bai Ye tightly. This is a genius recognized by Captain Yamamoto. He is super tall. As Bai Ye's roommate, they are very happy. Okay, Your Excellency, the captain just complimented me casually. It's not that exaggerated. Bai Ye waved his hands repeatedly, without any trace of pride and complacency, and his attitude was extremely humble. What are you talking about? You will be one of the vice-captains of GODI 13 in the future. Yes, Bai Ye, you can't forget us in the future. Ueno and his other roommate were not as calm as Bai Ye. One on the left and one on the right praised Bai Ye as if they were talking in cross-talk. The two also discussed spending money together. They must treat Bai Ye to a big meal today to celebrate. This Bai Ye is not simple. Even so, he doesn't have any pride. As the best among the four noble children, Kokaki Kankan looked at Bai Ye's performance and felt terrible in his heart. It seems that Spiritual Arts Academy will leave another legend in the future. Ryu Adachi Wooden Golem also very much agrees with Kokaki Kankan's statement. With this single battle, Bai Ye can be said to be famous in the entire Soul Society. You know, there are not many people who can be praised so highly by Yamamoto. At this time, Ryu Adachi Wooden Golem saw Kokaki Kankan moving. Bai Ye, who was being encouraged by his roommates to step down to celebrate, suddenly saw Kokaki Kankan standing in front of him. Classmate Bai Ye, let's get to know each other, I'm Kokaki Kankan. Kokaki Kankan stretched out his hand and smiled. Hello, Kokaki-san. Bai Ye also smiled at the kindness shown by Kokaki Kankan, one of the future strong men. Classmate Bai Ye, you are very strong. If you have time in the future, you can come and sit at Kokaki's house. How about it? As soon as Kokaki Kankan said these words, the whole audience was shocked again. Chapter 16. This is the Kokaki family. It is one of the four noble families of Soul Society. Kokaki Aoi is even more famous in the academy. Her strength ranks first among the students of the same age. She is also the strongest among the new generation of the Kokaki family and is the one who is cared for by the head of the family. Such a noble elite actually took the initiative to lower his dignity and invite Bai Ye to their Kokaki home. The point is, Kokaki Kankan is so strong that he would put down his posture and befriend Bai Ye in such a friendly manner. The surrounding teachers and students only felt a little dizzy, suspecting that everything that happened today was a little unreal. Sure. Faced with Kokaki Kankan's invitation, Bai Ye naturally would not refuse. But, I'm actually not that strong. There are people stronger than me. Bai Ye corrected Kokaki Kankan's statement, and looked at Aizen in the crowd intentionally or unintentionally. Oh? Are you from our college? Bai Ye nodded. Kokaki Kankan was a little surprised. He didn't expect that there was someone stronger than Bai Ye in the academy. How could he not know? Just as Kokaki Kankan was thinking about the people in this academy who might be very powerful in his impression, he heard Bai Ye shout, Aizen, why are you here? I've been looking for you for a long time. Aizen said and didn't understand what Bai Ye wanted to do. No, that's the person I told you is stronger than me, Aizen, who is in the same dormitory with me. Bai Ye walked up to Aizen, patted Aizen on the shoulder, and introduced Kokaki Kankan. Aizen. Kokaki Kankan frowned when he saw Aizen. He had no impression of this person at all. Kokaki-senpai, don't listen to his nonsense. Suddenly being pointed out by Bai Ye, Aizen immediately denied Bai Ye's statement. How is that possible? I know, Aizen, that you are always stronger than me. Don't be humble. Bai Ye would not miss this opportunity to make Aizen famous and grabbed Aizen to brag about it. In that case, then Bai Ye, you can bring Aizen over as a guest when you have time. Kokaki Kankan observed Aizen for a while, but didn't find anything unique about Aizen, so he said a polite word because of Bai Ye's face. Okay, Aizen and I will go there together then. Bai Ye nodded and accepted the invitation directly for Aizen. Just kidding, if given the opportunity to improve his strength, Bai Ye would naturally not leave behind the humanoid plug-in Aizen. As long as you take Aizen to see more, Aizen's strength will improve faster and his strength will be stronger. Okay, I won't interrupt your celebration. After receiving a positive reply from Bai Ye, Kukaki Kankan left his contact information and left. As Kukaki Kankan left, several people from Longtang Temple Wooden Golem also came up and left their contact information with Bai Ye before leaving with satisfaction. After the competition was over, the teachers also dispersed all the students, and everyone dispersed. But Aizen looked at Bai Ye secretly, and his doubts deepened. Bai Ye really saw his talent, but why did he say he was better in front of others? The more he thought about it, the more Aizen couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. But Aizen quickly adjusted. Even if Bai Ye is very strong, his talent is not bad, and with such a talented roommate by his side, the days ahead should be interesting. The 4th Division Team Building. Like last time, Bai Ye came to the team building door and knocked on the door. When the door opened, it was a man with fair face and long hair. Hello, I'm here to see Captain Anohana. Bai Ye quickly explained his purpose. Oh? Are you Bai Ye? Seeing Bai Ye, the man raised his eyebrows slightly and looked Bai Ye up and down. It doesn't look like anything special. Let's go, the captain is waiting for you. Bai Ye was stared at by the man with hair all over his body. He was just about to say something to lighten the atmosphere when he was pulled in by the man. Along the way, the two of them met some team members who greeted them. Bai Ye was a little surprised when he heard the names of the team members. The long-haired man in front of him turned out to be the vice-captain of the 4th Division, Yamada Sōsuke. As a student, he was able to let the vice-captain personally lead the way. No one would believe it. Then the two came to a room. Yamada Sōsuke opened the door and saw Anohana kneeling with her back to him. Good morning, Captain Anohana. Bai Ye walked into the room and said hello. Coming. Hearing the sound, Anohana, who was playing with the flower arrangement, stopped what he was doing and slowly stood up. Turning around, Bai Ye saw Anohana's gentle smile again. It's just that this smile makes people feel intimidated no matter how they look at it. I heard that the Commander-in-Chief has a high opinion of you. As soon as he came up, Anohana talked about Yamamoto's last evaluation of Bai Ye. Thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty the Commander-in-Chief. I actually cannot bear your high praise from Your Excellency the Commander-in-Chief. Bai Ye quickly denied it. He always had a bad feeling in his heart. He always felt that Anohana was trying to make excuses. Oh! Anohana narrowed his eyes, and 2 bamboo swords appeared in his hand at some point. Classmate Bai Ye, you are so humble, the more I like you. Anohana said as he threw the bamboo sword to Bai Ye. The captain said that you can come to me to practice at any time. In this case, let's try the sword pressure I taught you last time. Yamada Sōsuke, who was about to get up and leave, saw that Anohana was going to train Bai Ye, and became interested, so he just stood aside and watched. When Bai Ye heard this, his heart tightened. It seemed that his guess was not wrong. This woman has tormenting thoughts again. Then Bai Ye saw Anohana waving a bamboo sword. Ryutsu surged and hit a sword pressure. A sword energy that was as high as the room and condensed into substance cut through the air and rushed towards Bai Ye quickly. Seeing such a powerful sword energy, Bai Ye was speechless. The sword pressure exerted by this woman was at least several levels higher than when she taught him last time. This move is to give him the highest level of difficulty. Seeing this, Bai Ye took a step back with his right foot, raised the bamboo sword, and also released the sword pressure. Chapter 17. Seeing Bai Ye's gesture, Anohana's eyes showed deep anticipation. The match between Bai Ye and Yamamoto spread throughout Soul Society in just a few days, and even the four nobles had the intention to recruit Bai Ye. Anohanaretsu was also curious about how well Bai Ye could master the sword pressure taught by her these days. However, even if she is a genius, no matter how well she understands sword pressure, she cannot achieve the level of sword pressure she is exerting now. Being as strong as a genius also requires time to accumulate. Anohanaretsu seemed to have seen the scene where Bai Ye released his sword pressure, failed to compete and evaded in embarrassment, with a smile in his eyes. What? Just when Anohanaretsu wanted to see how Bai Ye would make a fool of himself, his eyes suddenly widened and he looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. Bai Ye was not afraid of the pressure of the sword and made a gesture. Powerful Ryutsu surged out, Bai Ye's eyes focused, and he fired a sword energy that was twice as tall and thick as the Anohanaretsu's sword energy. This boy's Ryutsu is so strong, I'm afraid he's almost as strong as me, right? Yamada Sanashuk stood aside and felt Bai Ye's Ryutsu, and was shocked in his heart. He has been a Shinigami for so long and trained day in and day out to have such great Ryutsu. How old is Bai Ye, and he is still a student at the academy, and his level of Ryutsu has already surpassed him. While Yamada Sanashuk was shocked, the fierce sword energy fired by Bai Ye directly overturned the roof, and hit Anohanaretsu's sword energy with thunderous force. The result was undoubtedly that Anohanaretsu's sword energy was directly dispersed by Bai Ye's sword energy, and he rushed straight towards Anohanaretsu. Aha! Anohanaretsu saw the sword energy rushing toward her, and swung the bamboo sword in her hand into the air, making a sound of breaking through the air. Only then did the sword energy from Bai Ye dissipate. Well, Captain Anohana, I'm sorry, I accidentally used too much force and broke your roof. Bai Ye pointed to the roof carefully, feeling extremely nervous. Damn it, Mao's Hwa suddenly made a move, but he didn't stop it and used too much force. This guy's sword energy is stronger than the captain's. A flash of shock flashed in Yamada Sanashuk's eyes, and he had a new understanding of Bai Ye's strength. It's okay, classmate Bai Ye, your talent is beyond imagination. Looking at the roof destroyed by the sword energy, Anohanaretsu smiled slightly and didn't care at all. How about I help you repair the roof, Captain Anohana? Bai Ye shuddered in his heart when he saw Anohanaretsu smiling. No, it seems that this room is too small. Bai Ye is suitable for a more open training venue. Anohanaretsu slowly walked towards Bai Ye with a smile. Well, Captain Anohana, I don't think there is any need to change the venue. Seeing Anohanaretsu approaching, Bai Ye waved his hands repeatedly, feeling that this woman was going to inflict more terrible torture on him. However, no matter how Bai Ye struggled, Anohanaretsu directly picked up Bai Ye and dragged Bai Ye out. Soon, Bai Ye was taken to an outdoor training venue by Anohanaretsu. At this time, there were still several members of the fourth team training. They watched Anohanaretsu dragging a boy, and the deputy captain Yamada Sanashuk beside him, all straightened their bodies. As team members, when they saw Anohanaretsu acting like this, they probably understood what Anohanaretsu wanted to do, and they looked at Bai Ye with deep sympathy in their eyes. Seeing the looks in the team members' eyes, Bai Ye felt a little desperate. I really wonder how Anohanaretsu will torture him later. As soon as Anohanaretsu arrived, all the training team members immediately left the field. Take out your sealed state, classmate Bai Ye. Leaving Bai Ye on the training ground, Anohanaretsu said softly. Yes. Bai Ye bit the bullet and slowly pulled out the sealed state, not knowing what Anohanaretsu wanted to do. Originally, I didn't quite believe the captain's evaluation of student Bai Ye, but now it seems that student Bai Ye can indeed bear this evaluation. Anohanaretsu also took out his sealed state and held it in front of him. Then today, I will teach Bai Ye what Kendo is. Kendo. It's incredible, Captain Anohanaretsu can actually teach others the way of swordsmanship. This kid must have gotten lucky. Captain Anohanaretsu's swordsmanship is unparalleled in the entire Soul Society except for the chief captain. The team members who were watching on the sidelines heard that Anohanaretsu was going to teach Bai Ye Kendo, and they all suspected that they heard wrongly. I haven't seen the captain's swordsmanship for a long time. Zaraki Kenpake was so strong in swordsmanship, but he was defeated by the captain. Yamada Sanashuk couldn't help but sigh when he recalled the kendo showdown between Anohanaretsu and Zaraki Kenpake. Even Bai Ye was surprised. He didn't expect Anohanaretsu to teach him this. You must know that Anohanaretsu has the title of Kenpake. Her strongest thing is not kide, but her swordsmanship. At this point, he was going to be taught the art of swordsmanship, and Bai Ye looked a little more serious. He couldn't help but be careless. Anohanaretsu tortured him to death when he taught him sword press last time, let alone teach him kendo. Moreover, this time I am not holding a bamboo sword, but a sealed state. If you are not careful, you will be injured. Although Anohanaretsu will use kide to treat him later, he should take it as little as possible to alleviate some of the torture. Classmate Bai Ye, you have to watch carefully. Seeing Bai Ye's expression become serious, Anohanaretsu was very pleased and moved. I'm going, is this coming? Anohanaretsu launched another surprise attack. Bai Ye couldn't help but want to mobilize Ryutsu, but suddenly his Ryutsu couldn't be used. Bai Ye-san, kendo is very pure, and the use of Ryutsu is not allowed. When Bai Ye heard this, he couldn't help rolling his eyes countless times in his heart. How could Ryutsu play this if he didn't use it? Chapter 18. Clang. The two knives collided, creating a spark. Bai Ye gritted his teeth and focused completely on watching Anohanaretsu's sealed state. Unable to use Ryutsu, he can only rely on his usual combat skills to deal with Anohanaretsu's attacks. He must have had 4 or 5 fights with the captain, right? We usually spar with the captain, but we can't even catch a single move. Don't talk about you guys, I can only withstand the captain's 3 moves at most. The team members looked at Bai Ye fighting Anohanaretsu on the court, and they all felt Bai Ye's pervert. Yamada Sanashuk also found it unbelievable that without Ryutsu, he could still compete with Anohanaretsu without being at a disadvantage. Ever since he followed Anohanaretsu, apart from Captain Yamamoto, he has never seen anyone who can last so long under Anohanaretsu's swordsmanship. Classmate Bai Ye, your practical skills are also amazing. On the training ground, Anohanaretsu was also surprised that Bai Ye could persist in her sealed state for so long. Hey. Bai Ye didn't dare to speak, but stared at Anohanaretsu. But, the next step is the real swordsmanship. Bai Ye, you should watch and learn it carefully. Anohanaretsu showed her signature gentle smile, and her whole aura changed accordingly. Hiss. Yamada Onosuke and the team members gasped when they saw Anohanaretsu's current state. They knew very well that Anohanaretsu had completely entered the state of kendo. In this state, except for the 2 captains of the first team, the second team and Captain Yamamoto, no one else is her opponent. Captain, it's been a long time since she unleashed her full form of swordsmanship. Looking at Anohanaretsu on the stage, Yamada felt that the last time the captain appeared in such a posture seemed to be a long time ago. It's been so long that his memory is a little blurry. Bai Ye, who was on the court, also felt that something was wrong with Anohanaretsu's momentum, and a strong sense of crisis came over him. Call out! Anohanaretsu's figure moved. Before Bai Ye could see the movement clearly, he felt the hairs on his back rise. Subconsciously, Bai Ye turned around and waved sealed state, and Shunpo activated it at the same time. Clang! Bai Ye's sealed state hit Anohanaretsu's sealed state and avoided this move. Pain. Although he predicted Anohanaretsu's move this time, Bai Ye felt severe pain in his hands holding the sealed state. Just this one action made Bai Ye feel that his body functions were rapidly overstretched and his whole body was dripping with sweat. At most, if he persists with 2 moves, he may not be able to parry. I am not wrong, right? That kid actually withstood the captain's attack with perfect swordsmanship? Is he still not in the state of Ryutsu? The team members rubbed their eyes, fearing that they had seen wrongly. The scene just happened so fast that they didn't even see what happened between the two of them. Bai Ye still stood there, still holding the sealed state in his hands. Although his condition was a little bad, he resisted the blow. Such a perfect prediction, this is completely relying on instinct to fight, and I can already touch the surface of the sword. As the vice-captain, Yamada Sōsuke can still clearly see some of the movements of the two men. But when he saw Bai Ye's actions that were completely prejudgment, his face showed a look of shock. Just now, he knew that Anohanaretsu used half of his strength in that attack, but Bai Ye was able to block it with anticipation. Exaggerate? It's really an exaggeration. Today he started training with Bai Ye and Anohanaretsu. Bai Ye brought him unexpected surprises every time. Such a talented person will probably be more terrifying than Captain Anohanaretsu in the future, right? Yamada Sōsuke feels a little bit sad about his journey to Shinigami for so many years. Are some people born with powerful existences? On the training ground, Anohanaretsu was also a little stunned. She didn't expect Bai Ye to be able to resist an attack with half her strength. Classmate Bai Ye, you are really like a treasure. The deeper you dig, the more fascinated you become. The smile on Anohanaretsu's face became even wider, and the aura in her eyes changed again. Bai Ye felt dizzy when he looked at Anohanaretsu's eyes full of solemnity. This woman is getting playful again, isn't she? Gritting his teeth, Bai Ye took the initiative to greet him this time. Classmate Bai Ye, I'm sorry, I was so impulsive just now. Fortunately, you are fine. On the training ground, Anohanaretsu smiled and used Kidō to heal Bai Ye's injuries. Bai Ye was paralyzed on the ground at this moment, his clothes had been scratched on the shoulders. Hearing Anohanaretsu's words, he almost went crazy. Is this too impulsive? If he hadn't reacted quickly just now, his entire shoulder would have been chopped off. Remember, that was Kendo. The more Anohanaretsu looked at Bai Ye, the more he liked him. He looked at Bai Ye with a look of expectation in his eyes. Come back next week. I hope to see classmate Bai Ye who has already mastered the art of swordsmanship. Bai Ye didn't want to talk anymore and let Anohanaretsu say whatever he wanted. How can it be so easy to understand the way of Kendo? According to Anohanaretsu's requirements, this homework of understanding the way of Kendo is definitely not that simple. Chapter 19. Coming out of the 4th Division building, Bai Ye glanced at the door of the 4th Division building and thought of Anohanaretsu's gentle smiling face. No, there are still 6 days until next week, and he has to understand it quickly. As for the best way to understand, of course it is to find the humanoid self-propelled plug-in Aizen. So Bai Ye ran back to the college without stopping and went straight to the dormitory. Aizen, who was preparing to leave the dormitory, suddenly felt something strange and uncomfortable. After looking around and finding nothing unusual, Aizen stopped caring and prepared to go out. The moment he opened the door, Bai Ye's face appeared in front of him. Hey, Aizen, are you going to train? Seeing Aizen, Bai Ye was a little surprised. It was so sleepy that he came to the pillow. Aizen nodded, a bad feeling rising in his heart. He seemed to remember that today was the day when Bai Ye went to Anohanaretsu for training. Last time Bai Ye went to Anohanaretsu and came back. Thinking of Bai Ye enthusiastically pulling him to train, Aizen wanted to run away for no reason. As expected. It just so happens that I learned some unique skills from Captain Anohanaretsu. Let me teach you. Aizen wanted to refuse, but Bai Ye didn't even give him a chance to speak, and pulled him to the training ground. The two soon arrived at the deserted training ground. As soon as he came up, Bai Ye found 2 bamboo knives and handed one to Aizen. Aizen, let me tell you, what Captain Anohana taught me today was Kendo. As Bai Ye spoke, he demonstrated it to Aizen. There are actually no moves in Kendo. The first step in getting started with Kendo is to unite the human and the sword. You must feel the sword in your hand with your heart and become one with it. He is you and you are him. Aizen followed Bai Ye and played with moves, looking extremely clumsy. Come on, I'll teach you a few more times. Bai Ye looked at Aizen's little tricks, smiled secretly in his heart, and continued to teach Aizen. Bai Ye, I'm a bit stupid and I won't be able to learn so quickly. Aizen shook his head, the moves he performed were extremely perfunctory. Ding! The bound object is practicing, and the Ryutsu is increasing 100 times. Ding! The bound object is practicing Kendo, and his Kendo is increasing 100-fold. At this time, the system prompt sounded, and Bai Ye became even happier. Just keep pretending for me. Feeling that his understanding of Kendo was rapidly improving, Bai Ye continued to practice with Aizen. Aizen, how about this? I have some experience in Kendo and I can show it to you. Bai Ye felt that he had to force Aizen and let Aizen fight with him. Captain Anohana taught me a lot, Aizen, you look good. Bai Ye closed his eyes and felt the bamboo sword in his hand. At this moment, his Kendo improved 100 times, and he had a vague understanding of the Kendo. Opening his eyes again, Aizen suddenly felt that there was something a little different about Bai Ye opposite him, with an indescribable aura. Bai Ye entered the state without saying much and stabbed Aizen with the bamboo knife. Aizen's eyes narrowed and he blocked Bai Ye's attack with his bamboo knife. It wasn't over yet, Bai Ye struck again. Just like training with Anohanaretsu, Bai Ye did not use Ryutsu, and Aizen also did not use Ryutsu in a tacit understanding. The moves used by both of them are very simple, and they are all the most basic sword moves. Aizen awkwardly avoided Bai Ye's attacks every time, but Bai Ye failed every time. Ding! The bound object has understood the way of swordsmanship, and the way of swordsmanship is increasing 100-fold. Ding! Bind objects to learn the basics of Kendo, and the Kendo is increasing hundreds of times. Listening to the swordsmanship he had learned, Bai Ye felt that the bamboo sword in front of him had become different, and a strange feeling surrounded his whole body. Is this what it feels like to get started with Kendo? Bai Ye carefully felt the changes brought about by the sword, and even the sealed state he carried with him trembled. Has this guy realized something new again? Aizen understood the way of swordsmanship on his own, and soon realized something was wrong with Bai Ye. Aizen, come again. Bai Ye became excited, and his offensive with the bamboo sword became more and more intense. Aizen resisted Bai Ye's offensive, feeling that Bai Ye's talent seemed to be nothing more than that. Suddenly, while slapping, Bai Ye suddenly felt his sealed state shaking. The next second, the sealed state took the initiative to fly out and into Bai Ye's hands. Subconsciously, Bai Ye swung his sealed state knife and chopped Aizen's bamboo knife. Then, a few strands of hair fell in front of Aizen. Hey? I'm sorry, Aizen, are you not hurt? Bai Ye came back to his senses and hurriedly asked Aizen if there was anything wrong. Fine. Aizen shook his head and said with a smile, Classmate Bai Ye, you are indeed a genius recognized by the captain. Although he said this, Aizen was greatly shocked in his heart. He was very clear that just now Bai Ye was an entry-level swordsman like him, but there was a huge gap in their strength. Even he didn't react to Bai Ye's blow just now. Ding! Bind the object to understand the introduction of Kendo, and the Kendo is increasing hundreds of times. Chapter 20. Feeling that his swordsmanship was growing crazily again, Bai Ye smiled in his heart. He wanted to continue sparring with Aizen, but seeing Aizen like this probably gave him too much of a blow, so he stopped training. People can't push too hard all the time, they still need to slow down appropriately. The stimulation Aizen received today will probably make his cultivation even crazier after he goes back. Aizen, you are also very powerful. I just felt that you seem to have started swordsmanship. Bai Ye gestured and continued to praise Aizen's extraordinary qualifications. I just didn't get started with Kendo, and I haven't even mastered the Kendo skills you taught me. Aizen shook his head, but he was surprised. He didn't expect Bai Ye to see that he had just started swordsmanship. You must know that the two of them were in a duel just now, and Bai Ye still had the energy to see that he was getting started with swordsmanship. At this moment, Aizen became more and more certain that Bai Ye's qualifications were not inferior to his, but even superior to his. Classmate Bai Ye. Hey, why do you always call me your classmate? Are our relationships so bad? Bai Ye stepped forward and hugged Aizen's shoulders, correcting Aizen's title with a smile. Although I don't know how much stimulation Aizen will receive, the relationship cannot get worse, otherwise it will be troublesome if people don't want to ask Aizen to sparring in the future. Okay, Bai Ye, thank you. Aizen nodded and suddenly thanked Bai Ye. When he knew that his qualifications were very unusual, he became more and more aloof. Because he feels that no one can understand him and is not worthy of understanding him. But when Bai Ye, who had the same qualifications as him but a completely different personality, appeared, it made him feel a little sympathetic. Bai Ye always blindly said that he was very strong without explaining the reason, but he naturally saw the difference in him. However, Bai Ye did not regard him as an opponent, but instead pulled him to make progress together. This made Aizen look at Bai Ye with admiration. He would never be able to do such a thing. At this moment, Aizen's impression of Bai Ye changed, and his fighting spirit was aroused. It is true that Bai Ye is stronger than him, but it also gives him a goal. He always thought that he was alone, but now that Bai Ye appeared on this road, many things became interesting. Thank you, I just think you can understand what I do, Aizen. Bai Ye winked at Aizen and continued, okay, you were injured today, I will make you a big meal to make up for it. Aizen nodded, Bai Ye laughed, and the two returned to the dormitory. But what the two of them didn't know was that not long after the two left, many cracks suddenly appeared in the training ground, and the entire training ground was crumbling and about to collapse. Is there any big event today? Bai Ye, you cook so many good dishes. It's so fragrant, I can't help but use my chopsticks. As soon as Ueno and another roommate returned to the dormitory, they saw a lot of delicious food on the table. Then they saw a strange scene. Aizen was actually helping Bai Ye. As roommates, they knew Aizen's personality very well. He was usually very cold and rarely spoke, let alone took the initiative to help. Aizen, is there anything good today? Yes, I have never seen Aizen like this before. Ueno and another roommate caught Aizen and asked him questions, only getting a smile from Aizen. I have something good to do today. Stop talking and serve it to the table first. Bai Ye brought the last dish and urged the two roommates to serve it. In fact, even he was surprised that Aizen seemed to have a different attitude towards him after returning to the dormitory. He took the initiative to help him without even saying a word. But Bai Ye didn't ask much. It should be a good thing if Aizen can do this. Could it be that, Bai Ye, you learned something good from Captain Yuajiwa? Yes, yes, otherwise how could you cook such a sumptuous meal? Ueno and another roommate all looked at Bai Ye, so Bai Ye smiled and said that Anohanaretsu taught him kendo, which made the two of them jealous. After a full meal, Bai Ye couldn't resist the enthusiasm of his two roommates and simply taught them kendo in the dormitory. After a while of fighting, it was time to rest. After everyone went to bed, Bai Ye was preparing to take a rest when he suddenly found that the system suddenly prompted that the bound object was practicing crazily and that the Ryotsu was increasing hundreds of times. So Bai Ye took a sneak peek at Aizen's bed and found that Aizen had covered himself with a quilt as before. Thinking that Aizen might be pretending to be sleeping and sneaking away to practice like before, Bai Ye didn't bother to care. Suddenly, Bai Ye noticed a movement, Aizen's quilt was suddenly lifted, and the person disappeared in the blink of an eye. This made Bai Ye feel strange. Aizen's behavior was a bit abnormal. Confused, he looked at his two roommates who were already asleep, and secretly got out of bed to follow them. Since Aizen had just gone out not long ago, Bai Ye quickly caught up with Aizen and kept a distance. Seeing that Aizen seemed to be heading out of the college, Bai Ye frowned slightly and asked, "What is Aizen doing?" While Bai Ye was following intently, he heard a subtle sound. It seemed like the sound of a sealed state fight. Shrugging, Bai Ye thought someone was practicing and didn't intend to care. A figure suddenly appeared and flashed in front of Bai Ye. Chapter 21. Don't let her get away. A voice came from behind the figure, and Bai Ye saw what this person looked like clearly. She has conspicuous purple hair tied into a high ponytail and has a beautiful figure. This image is unfamiliar to Bai Ye. It turns out to be Yoryuki. It's just midnight. What is this Yoryuki doing? Does she have helpers? Before Bai Ye could figure out what was going on, he felt a sense of crisis coming from behind him. Boom! Bai Ye drew out his sealed state and prepared to fight, but saw Yoryuki appear behind him and punched hard. It's you! Yoryuki fought off a dark shadow, only to realize that Bai Ye was someone she knew. You know me? Bai Ye was also surprised. Yoryuki actually knew him? Don't say so much, just leave quickly. This is not the place for you to stay. Yoryuki wanted to say something, but when he saw the dark figures in front of him, he urged Bai Ye to leave quickly. At the same time, Yoryuki secretly smiled bitterly in her heart. She came out in the middle of the night to investigate some things, but she didn't expect to be discovered by the other party. Originally, she was fully confident that she could escape these pursuers, but she unexpectedly ran into Bai Ye. She still knows a little about Bai Ye's strength, but he is only one of the stronger ones among the students. But these pursuers chasing her are not something that the students of the academy can deal with. So Yoryuki immediately turned around and came back to help Bai Ye out, lest a genius die tonight. Haha, none of you can leave tonight. The people who were chasing Yoryuki immediately surrounded the two of them, giving them no chance to escape. You hide behind me and run away if you get the chance. Yoryuki immediately protected Bai Ye and secretly confessed to
वीडियोस बनाने हैं, फिल्मोरा है ना?